The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content for free. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com.
Hello, and welcome to Voices of Grey. I'm Petal Furness, and I'm the manager here at Grey Roots Museum and Archives. And right now we are in the beautiful log cabin in Morrison Heritage Village. And this afternoon, our very special guest is Mr. Delton Becker. He's joined me today. I've known Delton since I've been working for the museum, so probably since 2004. And we've developed a very close relationship. He's always been supportive. At the time I started, he was the chair of the Historical Society Board that we reported to, our Heritage Committee. And we are lucky enough to get Delton when he's not down in the States during the winter months, and we've got him before he's off to some other meeting that he has. We're so pleased to have Delton Becker with us today. Welcome, Delton.
Thanks, Petal. It's a pleasure to be here in such a wonderful setting here in the log cabin to talk a little bit about our history.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Delton, I'm going to treat you just like any of the wonderful voices that we're talking to in this program. And that, our first question is, how is it that you ended up in Grey County?
Well, that goes back a long way. My grandfather settled in Grey County, in Bentinck Township.
Bentinck Township.
And had a fairly large family, as I guess most of the settlers did at that time. My father had 4 sisters and 3 brothers living, and there was a couple that didn't. Actually, his mother passed away 2 years after he was born with childbirth.
Aww.
So it's a long story, but all of his sisters and brothers, and including him actually, went to Niagara Falls, New York. Of course, there was a remarriage and a stepmother, and the kids got out when they were old enough to, the first sister went to Niagara Falls, New York, and then the rest of them seemed to go there, and she looked after them. My father was the only one that come back to Grey County, to Bentinck Township, got married and bought a farm not far from his father's farm, because he helped his father along with the farming and daily needs as his father got older. So that's how I became here, and I was born in Bentinck Township, and I say I've never got away from home because I'm still there.
Yes. So what's a town that's close to that folks who might not be familiar with Grey County?
Well, you know, I really don't know what town to call my home, because we have an Elmwood address, we have a Durham telephone number, and we shop in Hanover.
Okay. So I just want to ask you about your grandfather. Where did your grandfather immigrate from?
Germany.
Oh, so he was one of our German settlers that came in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So Delton, so Becker is a German name.
It is.
All right. So you settled down in a farm next to where your father was from?
Actually, I took over the home farm and farmed there for quite a few years. We milked cows.
So you had cows?
Yeah, we had cows, and then we went into cash cropping, and my brother and I worked closely together. We shared the same line of machinery and worked together for many years.
So what kind of a tractor guy are you? What's your brand?
Well, my favorites are John Deere.
Okay.
But we've had other makes too. We've had a variety.
Have you had a Kubota?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I just love it though when I get people together, especially farmers, and they're talking about what tractor they like. So you must have found a wonderful woman. I know that you just celebrated your 55th anniversary. So where did you meet Helen?
Well, we actually met through the youth group at church. We were only 15 miles apart. She was from Normanby Township. But at the time, we had a youth group called the Luther League, and we'd get together to play volleyball or do contests or do whatever. And that's where we met. And we were married, and it must have been okay because we've been together for 55 years now, we're into the next year.
Aw, that's wonderful, and Helen's a wonderful woman. How many children did you end up having?
We had three. We had two
Three.
boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl.
And we have 7 grandchildren. And most of them live close together. We have one granddaughter that's out in Manitoba. But she gets home for special occasions 2 or 3 times a year. So we really enjoy our family time together.
Mm-hmm. You do. So, Delton, how long were you farming and raising a family before you started thinking about giving back and helping out the community?
Well, we grew up, we always worked together with neighbors. We would get together with neighbors and butcher pork, and my father operated what they called a beef ring, so there was about 25 or 30 members of this beef ring, and they'd butcher beef. Every week somebody would put in a cattle beast and butcher beef. Of course, in those years they didn't have freezers and ways to keep the beef, so they had fresh meat every week. So I guess I learned from an early age that sharing with the community was a very rewarding way to live. And we continued on that way, and neighbors, we thrashed together with a group of neighbors. We just worked together, and everybody helped one another. In the rural area, in the area I grew up, that was very common.
Mm-hmm. So when did you decide to do more than working with your community? I guess I'm trying to ask, how is it that you got thinking about becoming part of the government, becoming an elected official?
Well, I was one that never wanted to complain. I always thought if there's something you think is wrong, put your shoulder to the wheel and try and help fix it, rather than complain about it. And we had county roads in our particular community that had been in the county system for a very long time, but were still in gravel. And I thought there's something wrong with this picture, because upper tier roads should be a little better than our lower tier roads.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really why I got involved, and of course I started out with a council position. I think the council position at that time was a 1-year term, the first year, but then after that it was a 2-year term. So I served 1 year as a councillor.
And what year was that?
Oh, about 1986.
1986, okay.
And then I moved up to Deputy Reeve at that time, and I served 2 years in that position. And in '89 I ran against the incumbent for Reeve and was successful, and also became Warden of the County in 1989. So that was a banner year.
Yes, it was.
So it's gone on from there, and I served as a municipal politician for 26 years in different capacities, starting as a councillor, then Deputy Reeve, Mayor. Served as Warden of the County, I believe, 3 times, 89, 88, and 97 and 98. So that's been my political career. I think the first committee I served on as a county councillor was the Grey Sound Museum Committee.
Oh, okay.
And I found that interesting. I was interested in history even when I went to school, so. And of course I play with antique cars and tractors and stuff, so it was just a kind of a natural fit.
So was that when, I'm trying to think of the curator's name, John Landon was the curator at that time? Or was it
I think it was Wayne.
Wayne? Oh, sorry, John was his father.
John was the father,
Yes.
and Wayne had taken over from his father. And I think it's still in our collection. John had built a canoe,
Yes.
quite a large canoe, that hung up in the old museum, hung from the ceiling.
And we still have that same canoe, and it's in our new storage area from a grant we received, a $50,000 grant last year. So if folks come to Grey Roots now, they can see John Landon's canoe and they can get right up close to it.
It was a beautiful piece of work. He was a very talented man. So, yeah, that's where I started out, and we did get the road. I got a County Road 3 through our township. The road I got on council for, I was also on the road committee for many years. And it did get paved, and it's a very good road now.
Good, so people can thank you for driving on Grey Road 3.
Well, I don't know. It's, as in most things, it takes support of a lot of people to get something done.
That's true. So a good leader is someone who can round everyone up and get them to see your point of view?
That is very important, yes. But I was very fortunate. I say that I've always been treated by my wife and everybody else better than I deserve all my life, so I've been very fortunate.
Aw. Well, the first time I met you, I guess I had always thought you were the warden when I started, but you haven't, because I started because I started in 2004. But it's probably because you were the chair of the Heritage Committee when I had gotten started. And I just remember having those monthly meetings with you at the head, never getting really excited about anything. And as you know, things can get really exciting sometimes. And you'd be very calm and wise, and you would have all this information behind every decision people were trying to make because you had that previous experience.
Well, I've found it, as I say today, there are very few hills worth dying on. So you only get excited about the real big issues, and when you break it all down, there's always a solution. There's always a solution, and really no need to get excited. Just stay calm and let's together decide the direction we go from here.
So being really calm under pressure is probably a really good skill to have as an elected official, a politician, but it's probably a really good skill to have when you're a farmer, because so many things can happen that you have no control over.
Every day brings new challenges and new opportunities. You're quite right. And I not only farmed, my brother and I ran a sawmill for quite a number of years. So we were very busy, and when you're busy, there's always things happen, things break, and yes, it's good to stay calm and just figure out a way to keep everything working. And I've done that all my life. It was very easy. I was very fortunate. My brother was very easy to work with, so we got along well.
Good. Well, we're just going to take a break now, Delton, and when we come back, I'd love to talk to you about what I think is your pièce de résistance, your grand project, which is us being able to have our brand new Grey Roots Museum and Archives. So when we come back, we'll be talking more to Delton Becker about Grey Roots specifically. Thank you.
Your visit isn't really necessary.
I'll judge for myself.
I know you're an MP, Miss McPhail, but a woman has never...
I am not leaving till I do. How can such a society be called civilized? If those appalling conditions don't change, that prison will explode!
Perhaps our lone lady member is too fragile to know what is normal in a prison.
Is this normal?
Her courage would lead to the overhaul of the entire Canadian penal system. Agnes MacPhail, Canada's first woman MP.
Don't forget to join in to Grey County Life next week.
And we're going to be talking about Movember event with the men's program.
Hi, and welcome back to Voices of Grey. My special guest today is Delton Becker, and we've spent a good part of the program talking a little bit about your grandfather immigrating from Germany and where your family has gone and where you've settled. We talked about farming and your sawmill and working with your brother and a little bit about your family. Talked a little bit about me starting work here and having you as the chair of the Heritage Committee. But what I'd really like to talk about, sir, is Grey Roots Museum and Archives. So it was opened to the public in 2004. It's a 40,000 square foot building on 10 acres. And then this 10 acres that we're sitting in is the living history site. And I know you played a very key role in us being able to have Grey Roots Museum and Archives. And I know you're going to be very humble and give credit to so many others. And I do realize it's always a team effort. But I would like you to talk to us about where the germ of the idea came, how we moved forward, how you rallied the troops, and how we actually had the construction of this building.
Well, that started when I first got on county council, I guess, and I was on the Grey Owen Sound Museum Committee. We had so many great artifacts stored in the old museum site, but we had very little or no room to display them, or I shouldn't say we had no room. We made good use of what room we had.
Right.
But there was no room to really expand, and because the old site was close to the county building, property, the hydro bordered us on one side with a transformer station, we had no place to expand.
Right.
So it became obvious to me that we needed a new site. And we were very fortunate after a bit of time, and I think this thought process started when I was warden in 1989. And we kind of fumbled along, and the old site, and we had a row of trees that really hid the old museum.
Yes.
And I always thought that we should open that up so people could see the museum and increase the attendance.
Right.
Because it seemed that county council always related the number of people that were coming through the door to the dollars that were being spent to operate and maintain. So to get more people through the door, we needed, something had to change. So it became obvious that a new site would be a great opportunity. So I guess 97, 98, we pushed a little harder. I was warden again. And this site became available to us by the Moore family. Actually donated this site to us, 10 acres on a very busy county road just outside of Owen Sound. It had one of the highest traffic counts of the county roads in the county. Seemed like an ideal location. So that's where the thought process started, and we kept pushing ahead and presented it to county council. And thank goodness we had support from the county to develop this new site. We moved all the period buildings from the old site out here. And you know, I really had trouble within my own mind of moving the barn. It was a very expensive building to move because it had to be taken down piece by piece and put back up the same way. And I thought there were a lot of barns in the county of Grey. Well, as I travel through the county of Grey now, almost every time you go someplace, you see another one that's either falling down or been taken down.
Yes.
So now I realize that it was very important to move this barn, maintain it on site, just as all the other buildings are so important to our history. And that's where it all started, and we were very fortunate to build a fairly large museum building, archives. That was the other thing. We hadn't had archives in the County of Grey for, well, we had it in the old Glenelg Township office for a little while, about 2000 or thereabouts. But we were able to bring together the museum and the archives in a new building, and both feed into one another. They're both interrelated, and it's very important that they're close together, and that's the history of Grey County. There's nothing more important to residents of the county than their history. Where did we come from? How did we get here? And that's so important to me, and I believe to a lot of people in the County of Grey. As we get older, the history becomes more important to us, and we go back and research our family history. We research all kinds of history, and it's so important. So I'm very happy that we were able to build this museum here on this beautiful site on the bypass for the city of Owen Sound, County Road 18. Beautiful site, and you know, it's a tourist attraction now. Not only does it serve the residents of the County of Grey, we have a lot of visitors from outside the county who come up to this beautiful holiday area that we have here in Grey County and Bruce County too, as far as that goes. Salvo Beach, a very nice beach, and there are a lot of people go there for their summer vacation. So we're able to attract those people, and I've always said that, you know, we can't change history, nor should we try, but we can present our history in a very educational and informative way. And we experience so many school kids coming through our doors to touch their appetite on a little bit of their history. Where did we come from? How did we get here? So museums are very important to the life of a community.
It really is. Yes, I think we did 5,000 children this year alone, so the fall programming is starting, so all those kids come here. We also now have kids camp, so we'll have a themed week that ties into the curriculum, that ties into history, and we do that for 8 weeks of the summer. And as well, we have something called the Junior Interpreter Program now, so youth between 13 and 17 come and volunteer for each week, so those kids are dropped off by their parents or their grandparents, just like the kids in kids camp get dropped off by their parents or their grandparents. So yes, what we're doing here with the youth is really, really important. And also in the summer, we hire 13 university students, which is awesome. And we had an intern this summer as well from the Museum Study Program, and we have a young intern not from Grey County, so he's learning all about us. He's actually an Asian student, so that's really amazing, and he just starts in a couple of weeks. You're one of the few people who would realize how important it is to have an archives with the museum, because on September 28th, we open our newest exhibit called Apples of Grey County, Peeling Back the Layers. And so much information is in the archives. It is a treasure trove of information. You just have to dig in there and find it. And it's been so much fun finding all the stories and talking to apple farmers, and so everything that we do can be supported by the archives. So this program, for example, will become part of our new exhibit in the Grey Roots Gallery, in the Grey County Gallery, the permanent gallery, as we collect all the stories from the people of Grey. So certainly in the County of Grey, your voice is one of the voices that needs to be there because of your very, very important role you played in leadership in the County of Grey, and also because your support of culture and history and realizing how important that is. And when they moved to this site, there were, I think, 5 or 6 different off-site storage areas for a lot of the artifacts, no temperature or humidity control. And now we've got them all in one place.
You're exactly right. We were paying storage on so many different sites for artifacts that never seen the light of day.
Yes.
And that was a contentious issue with County Council. That was a line on our budget every year. So there was only one obvious solution. We need a bigger facility.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very fortunate that County Council supported us. Yes, I led the charge to get a new museum, but I had the support of staff and County Council to, I think this building cost us something like $12 million when we built it.
Mm-hmm.
At that time was a lot of money. Today it seems they're talking a lot bigger dollar numbers than that.
Yeah, for a house.
But anyway, it was the right thing to do at the right time. And we've been blessed with so many volunteers here at the new site.
Yes.
Great volunteers. They not only do they volunteer their help and their time, we've had the retired teachers, for instance, who built the schoolhouse.
Yes.
And many other groups, the Order of Good Cheer, the band shell, the
Rice family for the
Rice family for the
blacksmith shop.
blacksmith shop. So
And our next building will be the general store, and we have a Friends group now. So the Friends of Morriston are fundraising to build the foundation. And the great thing about the general store is we'll be able to get hundreds of artifacts off those shelves and into the store where people can see them and remember them and talk about them.
that's so important to get those artifacts out where people can see them. And that becomes, that new general store will become effectively a storage area
Yes.
for the artifacts that are hidden away and cataloged and never seen by the public.
That's right. And we have a new attitude about the artifacts in our collection too. We know as human beings you can't really save anything forever, so we're trying to keep them as long as we can. But what's the point of having an artifact if no one really gets to see it? So we are trying to get artifacts out with people so they can see them.
Well, that's so important. You're right. That's been my attitude right along. What's the use of paying storage or hiding them away in storage? And every once in a while, I'm sure we got to have staff dust them off.
There's no dust back there.
Well-
I will let folks know that every artifact we have in the collection is now online. So if they go to our website, which is greyroots.com, they can search every artifact. You can search by, is it made out of metal? Is it a cooking utensil? Was it donated by the Becker family? There's so many ways people can search about that. Well, we just continue to grow and prosper, again, with all of the thousands of, I think this year alone we had about 10,000 volunteer hours for more than 200 active volunteers. So volunteerism is a wonderful part. I thank you for all the good work that you've done here at Grey Roots to make it come to fruition. I thank you for the visits, your knowledge, your sharing your love, your passion for the County of Grey. And that's it for Voices of Grey. So glad that you were able to join us. Thank you.
Thanks, Petal. It's been
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
I'm Maxim Sushko, number 24, with Zone 7 Attack. Watch Attack Hockey on Rogers TV.
Hey, you wanna be friends?
Looking to get the most out of your 4K TV experience?
Yeah, I do.
Then you need the Rogers 4K Movie Channel.
What can I do for you, Rod?